Hey everybody, it's Eric, 80s Horror Man here, and welcome to my end of the month haul for the month of March. Now, in this haul, you're only going to see 6 Blu-rays I ended up buying in it, and no DVDs, but like I said, the month goes by quick and you do the best you can. So, without further ado, let's get started with the 6 Blu-rays that I ended up getting. First is a movie that my girlfriend and I went to go see last year here, and this is a Christmas movie, and the movie just came out on DVD like back in March, so I figured why not get it just to add to my collection and also watch during around the holidays when it comes around again. And the movie I'm talking about is Red One. Now, this movie has a former wrestler The Rock, but it's also got Chris Evans, Lucy Liu, Bonnie Hunt, J.K. Simmons. So you got a pretty good cast in this one, about where Santa ends up becoming kidnapped, and now it's up to a hulking elf who gets help from this guy who's pretty good at tracking people, or to find Santa and save him before Christmas time comes around. So Red One, I thought it was actually good. Some parts were funny, because if you've seen the previous to this movie, then you definitely know what I'm talking about. Next, I ended up getting this movie through the Indiegogo campaign, and I thought this movie was actually interesting. I thought it wasn't too bad, and the movie I'm talking about is Crust, where I got this signed by Sean Raylan right there, not only who started it, but this was his first directorial debut on this movie, where he put the you make life less socks. So that's what he put. And I guess if you're familiar with this movie, whoever contributed to this movie on Indiegogo, as you heard, that the company Anchorbase had to sell all the copies, either in whatever formats, DVDs and Blu-rays, and just send them over to Amazon. But then they had to send it all back, just because us movie lovers who contributed to this movie through Indiegogo who decided to send it back to Sean Raylan, so that way he can sign these copies and mail them to us personally. So I guess that was like a little problem wherever that happened. But this movie does play in black and white, but you do have like a little bit of color. Like if you see someone crying, you see like a little blue tear coming down their face. And basically, he plays like a washed up childhood actor who lives his life in a laundromat, and he ends up becoming friends with this his sock creature by the name of Crust, to get revenge on people who's been mean to him. So yeah, a sock for a creature and everything, that's something you don't see every day. But like I said, I thought it was actually interesting, and also my good friend Felissa Rose was in this one too. So what can I say? Yeah, it was actually something different, and I thought it was actually very unique. Next, for these Blu-rays, I decided to get these movies just to pay a tribute to the late great Gene Hackman, who just recently passed away. So I figured that why not get some movies to add to my collection just to pay tribute to him. So the first one I decided to get is an upgrade from the DVD to the Blu-ray, and as you already heard me mention that I don't have a 4K player or 4K TV, but I decided to get this as a 4K Blu-ray combo. And like I said, it's an upgrade from the DVD to the Blu-ray, and that's The Quick and the Dead, where you got an amazing all-star cast. You got Sharon Stone, you got Gene Hackman, you got Russell Crowe, you got Leonardo DiCaprio, Lance Henriksen, Keith David, Tobin Bell, and It is a Western, and it's also directed by Sam Raimi, the guy who directed the Evil Dead movies and Drag Me to Hell and the Spider-Man movies. So, but it's actually very interesting seeing Sam Raimi directing a Western, and this movie is a classic, and it's a very fun Western to watch, so I definitely recommend checking out The Quick and the Dead. Next is another movie that I decided to get. And I watched this movie before a couple times, and I thought this movie was actually good. I never owned the movie on VHS, never owned it on DVD, but I finally decided to get the Blu-ray of it. And that's Enemy of the State with Will Smith and Gene Hackman. But again, you got some very familiar people in here too. Like you got Jake Busey, you got Jack Black, you got Seth Green, you got John Voight in this one. You also have Lisa Bonet, who's known for playing Denise in The Cosby Show. So this movie is actually a very good movie. It's from the same director who did Top Gun and The Last Boy Scout and the remake of The Ticket of Pelham 1, 2, 3. So Enemy of the State, definitely recommend checking it out. Next is another Western I decided to add to my Blu-ray collection, and this movie ended up winning 4 Academy Awards when this movie came out back in 1992, because this movie won 4 Academy Awards for Best Picture, Best Director, Film Editing, and Best Supporting Actor. And the movie I'm talking about is Unforgiven. Now, Unforgiven is directed by Clint Eastwood, and this was the last Western that Clint Eastwood decided to do, but he also decided to direct this one as well. But you also have Gene Hackman in this one, and you have Morgan Freeman in it. So, we're Unforgiven, very good Western, and it's just actually a very good movie to watch. So I definitely recommend checking out Unforgiven for those who hasn't seen it. And last is another upgrade from the DVD to the Blu-ray. And I know Screen Factory put this out, but the copy to this movie is like OOP, out of print. But thanks to Kino Lorber for printing this out, I figured I had to get it because I might as well get it now. Because if I don't, it's going to be too late, and it's going to be asked for an insane amount of price when it goes out of print. And the movie I'm talking about is No Way Out. Now, No Way Out stars Kevin Costner and Gene Hackman in this one, where he plays like a naval Pentagon aide who leads like a so-called Soviet manhunt when it's actually all a lie, because Gene Hackman plays the president who accidentally kills his mistress, and his right-hand man decides to cover it up by getting rid of the evidence and just say it was the Soviets. Just have them lead like a Soviet manhunt. So now Kevin Costner's trying to figure out who killed this woman that he was also seeing, because he was also seeing the same woman that the president had as a mistress. So No Way Out, definitely recommend checking out for those who hasn't seen it, because the person who directed it is the same guy who directed Dante's Peak and The Getaway. So No Way Out, definitely recommend checking it out. Alright guys, so that's it for my haul. What do you guys think? I know it's not much, but what can you do? Also, like and subscribe to the channel. Did you also like any of the movies I showed off in this haul? If so, please let me know in the comments down below. I'd like to hear your thoughts. And stay tuned for some more videos. Later.